So I finally finished my live stream / gaming setup, and I'll be honest with you, it's nothing crazy to look at. It's not like your typical RGB, case open, lights popping out everywhere PC build. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's some pretty cool setups out there, but I prefer more of a minimalistic approach, and I prefer to use RGB in a way that's inspiring and sets the ambiance. Now I have the HDMI Sync Box sitting on top of my computer and it's connected to my GPU, but you can also connect this to a TV, to a console, or pretty much anything that has an HDMI port. And what it does is it takes the data from the screen and allows the lights to mimic whatever you're looking at. Think of this as the surround light setup. Instead of surround sound, it's surround lights. So whatever you're doing on your screen, the lights are gonna mimic that. Now this is really cool because if I'm gaming, this makes me feel more immersed into the game since the light is extending behind my monitor. But you don't have to use it for just gaming. Like, you can use this for watching TV. It'll do the same thing. You could use this for listening to music. And if you want, you can just set the colors to whatever static color you want because you have 16 million colors to choose from. The PC case plays a critical role in any setup. Like, you can go for the crazy transparent sides, have RGB slapping you in the face, but I already have good RGB being done right in the background. I don't need extra RGB distracting me. And to be quite honest, I'd rather have a super quiet PC than a case that has a panel on the side that's gonna show me the internals. And if you want a quiet case, you gotta find something with sound dampening material. And Fractal has been known for this. Like, they have the brand new Define 7, and inside of it, on all the panels, there is sound dampening material, which reduces the noise from your PC. Like, when this thing is under full load, it doesn't get over 40 decibels. And I think if you're streaming, you don't want to hear the fans in the background. It's just a big distraction. CPU, Ryzen 3700X. I could have went with something more expensive, but I just think the 3700X is a sweet spot. Like, it's just good price to performance on the high end. It's 8 cores, perfect for streaming and gaming. It's not gonna slow down. And the beauty about AM4 is it's backwards and forwards compatible. The GPU, on the other hand, I spared no expense. Like, to me, if you're gaming and streaming, it's the most important thing. So I bought the RTX 2080 Ti. It's the Asus ROG Strix. This is the OC edition, and by God, is this thing a powerhouse. One of the fastest 2080 Ti's you can buy. It's also super quiet. I don't hear it when it's under full load. But the reason why I went with the 2080 Ti is because I want to achieve the highest frames as possible since my monitor is 240 Hertz. I'm using a 1080p panel, but still, to get to 240 frames per second, you need a beefy GPU. Now, I'm not gonna go too crazy over this monitor because I've reviewed it already, but I will say this. It's a TN panel, but with a 0.5 millisecond response time. And if you're serious about gaming, the lower the response time, the better. On top of that, it also has this nifty little headphone stand, which I really like. It just makes my desk look a bit cleaner. And the headset I'm using is the Corsair Virtuoso. Like, this is a wireless headset. It's super comfortable. It's charged by using USB Type-C. You don't need any crazy cables, and the sound is just exceptional. Speaking of sound, I also use an XLR mic. It's the Blue Blackout Spark Pro, and it's really good with vocals. I have it attached to a Behringer UM2 amp, and it just does the job for Twitch streaming. Like, it just sounds so much better than your typical microphone that's attached to your headset. Now, those two crazy lights that you see above the display are the Elgato key lights. These are great if you have a green screen behind you because it can light your face. It just makes you look better on camera, and it gives you the proper lighting conditions you need. I use this and it does a great job of lighting my green screen. You don't see any shadows. It just covers it perfectly. And you can also adjust it to make it brighter or less bright or change the color temperature. Now, all of this stuff is sitting on a desk by a company called Game Dia. I saw this and I thought it looked pretty cool, but I'll be honest with you, I got into the studio, I set it up, and it feels kind of cheap. Like, the desk is super wobbly, but it does have a couple of good key features. Like, for example, there's a net that houses all the cables. Like, you don't have to use zip ties. You just stuff the cables inside of there and you're not gonna see them. I also like the fact that the entire desk is one big mouse pad. The camera I'm using is a simple webcam from Logitech. It's the C922. Like, a lot of streamers use this. It's a solid webcam. It looks fantastic, especially when you have it that small in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. You can configure it in its settings and get the color temperature and everything everything exactly how you want it. And it just works very well with the Elgato green screen that I have in the background. The mouse is the Logitech G903. This is a great wireless gaming mouse. I personally prefer wired, but if I'm using wireless, this is the one I use. And the keyboard is by HP. I forget the name, but it is a mechanical keyboard. And the thing that I really love about it is the metal volume control. It just feels super solid to use. And last up is the iPad. I have an iPad on the desk that I use to manage the stream, what I use to talk to people while I'm live streaming on Twitch. I could put a second monitor there, but I just like having less stuff on the desk, and this is another way for me to do it. So that wraps that up. Let me know what you think of the setup. I'm also curious what you would do differently. Stay safe, like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.